Hey guys, we're back, and this time we're going to be taking a look at laser chess. The great people over at ThinkFun sent this off to me to do a review on, and we're going to check it out. If you're familiar with the channel, usually recently I posted a video on Ket and Ket 2.0, and I talked about deflection. This is the newest version of that game and the more modern retake on it. They've taken away the Egyptian theme and replaced it with a modern sci-fi theme. And it's really cool, and I like pretty much everything about this one. So we're going to get in, we're going to take a look, and for those who aren't familiar, I'll show you a little bit more about the game. So the first thing we have in here is the board, and you can see they've replaced the colored squares with little symbols on here. You have one for the red team, one for the white team, which the white team's pieces are actually blue, which is kind of strange, but they have white pieces on them as well. You have a spot on each corner for the lasers, and then your normal grid for the rest of your pieces. Underneath here we have the manual, and while it looks super thick, it's actually only about 10 pages, and then it's put into several languages. And it's pretty cool to have a multilingual version right available with games like this where there isn't a lot of text involved, just the instructions. It's kind of easier to do that. And on the last page, you can see we have 5 setups here. This ace is the classic setup that I highly recommend for new players. After you've played a while and you get used to the game, you can try out some of the more advanced ones that allow for some more complicated strategies. And then we have our tray for the pieces. I like the way that this stores everything nice and secure. They're not going to fall out. I don't think, yeah, you can even tip this upside down. They're not coming out of there, which is nice. Keeps them from shuffling around. You don't have to worry about the mirrors getting broken. The only complaint I have is that the switch pieces here are very difficult to get in and out. And you're undoubtedly going to get fingerprints all over these. So keep a microfiber cloth or something in here so that you can wipe the mirrors off on the pieces as you take them out. But a quick overview of the pieces. We have the deflectors, which have colored. This is what I was saying about them having white on the blue. They have a mirror that sits at a 45-degree angle, and you're going to have a bunch of these, as you can see. And these can be angled and moved around the board to reflect the laser to various points. The next one you have is the switch. And the switch was originally called the Djed, and then it got renamed to the Scarab. And now in this game it is the switch. It is a double-sided mirror. And again, they're set at 45-degree angles to reflect the lasers. But it can't be taken out because it cannot be hit on anything other than a mirror, which is nice. And you're going to have 2 of those on each side. We have this new piece called the Defender, and these are kind of a shield. Anything that hits this front side is just absorbed. Anything that hits the other 3 sides, though, they get eliminated. And these replace the obelisks from the original and the Anubis from 2.0. And don't worry about the names of those things. If you're not familiar with the other games, they don't matter. It's just different versions. And then here we have our king, and I like the way these are. They have reflectors all through in here, so when they get hit from any angle from a laser, this top piece kind of lights up. I don't know if you'll be able to see too well in here because I have a lot of lights on when I film, but we will try it out. And then finally we have the lasers, and these go on those spots right here on the corner of the board. And they can orient either this way or they turn 90 degrees to orient this way. So they shoot either down this row here or this row here. And these are what you're going to be reflecting off of the mirrors. They're just a standard dot laser in there. They take watch batteries in the base there. There's a screw to open up the base to change them. They do start with a little pull tab in there, so make sure you take those out when you get a new copy or they won't work. But that's a look at all the components. I'm going to set up the board and show you a little bit about how the game plays, and then I'll give you my thoughts. So here we have the board set up in the Ace or standard configuration, classic it used to be called, and players are going to take turns moving one of their pieces. Now any of your pieces can move any direction, one space, even diagonals, or you can rotate a piece 90 degrees. After every move, you're going to push the button on your laser, which is going to cause it to fire. In this case, you can't really see, but it's going off, bouncing off these two mirrors, this mirror here, and going off the board. If I put my hand back here and push the button, you can see it there on my fingers. And that ends your turn. Then the next player moves, and so on. The objective is to hit the king piece here or here with the laser. Any other pieces that are hit in the backside, so if we turn this piece 90 degrees here, I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. Maybe. It's kind of dark in here. If you put it over here, you'll definitely be able to see. You see how the beam hits it here, it lights up. If the room is even the slightest bit dark, it actually makes the piece kind of glow, which is kind of neat. But that piece would be eliminated and removed from the board. And this continues on. Now we do it again. The next turn after you move, fire, move, and fire. And you take turns. So I'm going to move, fire, they're going to move, fire theirs. And the whole point is you have to pay attention to where, not only where your laser is going, but where your opponent's laser is going. And when you take out a piece, you have to take that into consideration. Like if this piece were eliminated, now this is going to go here to here to here, back to here. It's going to hit that piece, and so on. So each time the path of the beam changes. And I see a lot of people will accidentally move this out of the way early on. And if this was to get moved, that gives you a straight shot to the king. And again, I don't know if that shows up because it's so bright in here, but the laser would go here to here and straight to the king. So you really have to watch that kind of thing. All of the pieces, as I said, have the same movement. You either go forward, diagonal, backward, whatever way you want, all the way around in any of those 8 spaces. The king can do the same, or you can rotate them 90 degrees. Again, these reflectors block any hit from the front, but any other side, they get taken out just like any other piece. The switches cannot get taken out because no matter what side they get hit on, there's a mirror. But they do have a special move in addition to moving the normal one space in any direction. If they're ever adjacent to a deflector or a defender, they can choose to switch places with those. And both pieces keep their original orientation, they just swap places. So that can open up some cool new strategies and things for that. They cannot switch places with a king or another switch though, so it has to be the deflector mirrors or the defender shields. Keep that in mind. You can also rotate the laser 90 degrees and fire, which offers up some interesting new abilities where you can move a piece here, and you can see we're hitting this right here. So it opens up a lot of interesting tactics and abilities. As they put the description, laser chess combines the spatial thinking of chess with the high-tech fun of lasers. So you've got all of the strategy and planning ahead and thought that goes into a game of chess, and then the physics of the lasers reflecting off the mirrors and so on top of that. So it really gives you a lot to think about and work with. And I actually enjoy this game, I think, more than chess. Given the option of the two, I think I would pick laser chess over standard chess. And I think most people would too after a few games. It's just a really fun process to think moves ahead of where your beam is going to go. You also have to keep track of where your opponent's beam is going to go, because that's going to fire at the end of every one of their turns. And you might spend too much time setting up a nice shot on your own, not paying attention to what they're doing, and the next thing you know, you're getting hit and your king dies and you're out of the game. So there's a lot of thought and strategy that goes into it, and I really enjoy the process of thinking ahead. And you really have to plan several moves ahead of what's going to happen to be successful at the game, and I love that aspect of it. Liked it in the originals, and I like it in laser chess. The best thing about this version is the more modernized, updated pieces tend to get more looks on the table. The older version was a little bit more dated with the Egyptian theme. I think this brings a fresh new facelift to an already great game and keeps the same things that made the originals great while giving it that new look to draw in new players. The only real complaint I can say that I have is that the pieces don't either they don't sit perfectly in the slots or the mirrors aren't perfectly aligned, which is to be expected. It is kind of a toy game. It's not high precision here. And after several reflections, it is possible for the mirrors to slightly reflect the beam like off of the table. So we go through a bunch of different reflections like you would have in a normal game here. Let's put this here and this here. That should hit the king over there. And it is to an extent, just not square on the middle like it should. So you can move that just a little. I don't know if you can see, you probably can't even see it on camera, but it's hitting like up in here on the plastic instead of down on the reflector part. And I mean, that's kind of to be expected. It happened with the original game too, so it's not like it's something new. It's just something you have to keep in mind. Once you get maybe 5 or so mirrors involved, you may have to trace the beam of the laser with your finger to figure out where it's going to go, because the beam doesn't always bounce squarely off the mirrors. Nothing against them. Like I said, all the other versions of the game had similar issues, and it's kind of unavoidable, but it doesn't really take away from the game too much. The other cool aspect of the game is that while the beams are not visible, they actually are there. So if you have like a smoke machine or vape or something, you can actually see the beams, which is kind of neat, but completely irrelevant to the game, but it is kind of fun. Overall though, it's a great remake of a classic game. It's nice to have it back on the market again, and I recommend this to anybody who's into tactical strategy games. If you like chess, you're going to like chess with lasers. And laser chess brings everything you want from the classic Ket into a more modern look and feel. Looks like something you might be interested in. It is available from the Think Fun website. I'll have a link down in the description, as well as several other online retailers. So check it out. And please, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.